We are going to be writing algebraic expressions today. So our first vocab word is expressions, and an expression is written with constants and variables or may be described in words. Remember, an expression is not an equation, so it does not have an equal sign. Underneath here, I have a chart with keywords for operations. So if you're going to add, added to, plus, sum, more than, those are the words you're going to see in the word problem. If you're going to subtract, you're going to have subtracted from, minus, difference, less than, take away, taken from. Then if it's multiplication, you might see times, multiplied by, product of, or groups of. And then if it's division, you might see divided by, divided into, quotient of, or ratio of. So this chart might be a good thing to write down in your notes, so pause the video, write them down, or if you have access to a printer, to print it off. It might help you with your assignments. So for my first example, how can you write the verbal phrase, the quotient of 5 and the quantity of 3 more than a number n as an algebraic expression? So the quotient of means I have to divide. And it looks like I'm dividing 5 and the quantity 3 more than a number. So that means 3 more than a number, n, would be my other number that's in my division, because quotient is the answer to a division problem. And I'm dividing 5 and the quantity of 3 more than a number, n. Use a value for n and explain why the expressions 5 divided by the quantity of n plus 3 and 5 divided by n plus 3 are not the same. So if I plugged in 7 here, I would have 5 divided by 7 plus 3, which would be 5 divided by 10, and that would give me 0.5. If I plugged it in this other equation, I would have 5 divided by 7 plus 3. The order of operations says that I have to do the division first, so I would have 5/7 plus 3, and I would get an answer of 3 and 5/7. Much different than what is going on over here with the parentheses. So when I go back up, the quantity of 3 more than a number n, that means I missed my parentheses. The quantity of means you need to put parentheses around whatever they're talking about there. So example, write an algebraic expression to model the following phrase, the price of lunch plus a 15% tip for the lunch. So we have to pay for lunch, so I'm going to use a capital L, plus a 15% tip of whatever that lunch is. So I'm going to put 0.15 because that's 15% as a decimal, times the lunch. So I have to pay for the lunch, plus I have to pay 15% of the lunch as a tip. Now down here, what could this expression, the quantity of p plus 0.15p divided by 2 represent? Well, this looks very similar to the expression that we wrote up above. So this would be the price of lunch plus a tip. So we could say this would be the price of lunch plus a 15% tip. But then what does that divide by 2 mean? Well, maybe I split it with a friend. And we're going to pay each going to pay half the bill with a friend. All right, example, last month Lizzie volunteered 20 hours at her own library. In the weeks to come, she plans to volunteer 5 hours per week at the library. Write an algebraic expression to represent the total number of hours she will have volunteered W weeks from now. So she's already volunteered 20. And it says she plans to volunteer 5 hours per week each week. So we're going to add on 5 hours per week. And it says down here, volunteer W weeks from now. So it tells us what variable to use. Then it says, how many hours will Lizzie have volunteered by the end of 10 weeks? Explain how you solve this problem. Well, W stands for week, so we're just going to plug 10 in for that W. So I end up with 20 plus 50 because multiplication comes first in the order of operations. So after 10 weeks, Lizzie will have volunteered 70 hours.